Hi, you guys. I want to come back and make a video on the flood dream and the dream about the ladies in white. I might just do a part two for the ladies in white. I got to gather my thoughts and make some notes on that part. And also, I had a dream about Ben Carson last night, but I haven't had the time to write down my dream, so I'm going to write it out. I had three-part dream last night. I want to write it out and see if I can get some clarity on what I actually dreamed before I've been having to write out my dreams first, you guys, some for the most part. Um, as far as this flooding, you guys, as I've been listening to the news over the past couple days, we know a lot of things happened on Christmas Day, and also shortly after I made the video, I cooked some things and took it to my house. And not only did I see some ladies in white, which I said I'll make in another video, but she mentioned her house being flooded and some pipes bursting um, and flooding out her house. But um, there's something bigger to that. So I'll just go ahead. And I mentioned a couple people's names in that last video, so this will be kind of like confirmation for them, I guess. So um, in the dream, there was a flash flood that quickly flooded the house and lifted us up to the point where I felt like I needed to hold my breath. Um, we did have some flash flooding in the Philippines because they just had this tsunami, I believe, on Christmas Day. Also, God talks about destroying the land. Um, every every person that has, let me see, it says all in whose nostrils breath was the breath of life died in the flood of Noah. Except for Noah, of course, you guys, and his family. Um, Also, we were lifted up. We didn't, in the dream, just as Noah's ark was lifted up, we were lifted up. Uh, Not to say that judgment isn't coming and it won't affect us, but there's always a remnant and God always delivers his people. So um, we were lifted up from like the waist up, like the water only came to us from the waist up. I do remember feeling wet in the dream, but it didn't submerge over us. Um, and then the water went back out suddenly. Um, I realized that my clothes weren't damaged. Um, and second, in Matthew 7, it talks about those whose homes are built on a solid rock or on shaky ground. Um, if your house is, of course, built on solid rock, when the flood comes in, then it will stand. So I think my clothes not being damaged, in effect, was kind of pointing to that scripture. And of course, we didn't lose our lives. So, Minister Paul being in my dream, I heard a couple things about Jeremiah being the weeping prophet, and not only that, but Noah himself being a preacher of righteousness, as it says in 2 Peter 2:5. Him declaring, I told you guys this was going to happen. Speaking of judgment, because he did just speak of judgment as a result of this UN vote. Also, Rye's husband got the revelation of judgment coming as a result of this UN vote against Israel. And that person who Minister Paul went over to, after he was saying, I told you guys this thing was coming. I told you guys this thing was coming. I think actually represented Rye's husband, because the word calculation was used. And in real life, the word calculation was used in the revelation of the dream that he had the night before. Um, let's see. I'm going to look over my notes, you guys. I think that's pretty much it. After the first flood came, we were waiting on the waters to go out and come back in. I just had a feeling that this water was coming back in at some point during the break, in which Minister Paul had the chance to talk to who I believe was Rye's husband outside. This second flood could be, as in, the days being like Noah, and we're waiting for judgment to come, and we're waiting for the Lord to come. Also, in real life, New Zealand, who was a co-sponsor in this division of Israel dividing the land of Israel on a couple days ago, they got hit with a major earthquake, and everybody was waiting for a tsunami threat because the earthquake was so major. We just thought that for sure there was a tsunami coming to that country. You guys, I think that's it. But all in all, judgment, we can relate them to as the days of Noah, but also them being as the days of this coming of the Son of Man. Warnings being given, if you want to talk about Jeremiah being the weeping prophet, and also Noah being a preacher of righteousness, warnings are being put out. All two of the people that I mentioned, or all three of the people that I mentioned, have been warning of judgment. And also, if judgment does hit our land, God will take care of his people. There will always be a remnant, or they will always be delivered, as Lot and his wife were delivered during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Noah and his family were delivered during the time of the flood, and so on and so forth. Jesus is coming. Heed to the warnings, and judgment is coming as a result of this UN vote. Okay, you guys, that's it. If I think of anything else that I left out, I will put it in the description, in the comment box, and or the description box. Okay.